A very good evening, everyone. I, Ms. Gunjan Agrawal, and my co-host, Ms. Kajal Singh, once again welcome all the participants and speaker for the fourth day of 5 days faculty development program on Moodle Learning Management System. After the third day of training session, we have got the 2 days for self-practice to explore the world of Moodle. Today's session will be conducted on topic tracking progress, gamification, and making effective use of Moodle using pedagogical tools, which will be delivered by Professor Ranjan Kumar. Professor Ranjan Kumar is working as assistant professor at Faculty of Pharmacy, Integral University, Lucknow. He has 12 years of experience in teaching, research, and training. He is a certified trainer he is a certified trainer and training for STEM teachers on research-based pedagogical tool from Center of Excellence in Science and Mathematics Education, IISER, Pune under PMMMNMTT MHRD Government of India. He has been certified by IIT Bombay for designing and implementing online and blended courses, better use of ICT in education. To his credit, he has organized and conducted 37 workshop FDP programs and short-term courses. It is a great pleasure to have you with us here. I would now hand over the session to Ranjan sir. Sir, thank you.
Thank you, Gunjan ma'am, for that brief introduction. I'm not really ready for that. I'll try to keep myself up to your expectations. I'll share my screen. Okay, let me come to the share screen option. So, uh, most of us have been engaged in a lot of activities on the given Moodle course for this program. I assume that almost everyone has submitted the assignment. There were queries in the group. Jatin sir called me an hour ago about participant queries regarding what is the way to do the assessment, and there were more specific queries. I have gone through the discussion forum also, so I'll be addressing, try to address most of it today. Okay. One very specific query is that why survey has not been taken into the course, but it till now, and it has been made an exam a part of the assignment given to you all. Yeah, right, that is true. But that adding activity part already has been discussed, and survey is just an activity. Okay. So it was that way put in the course, and yeah, I agree, and I hope you all will agree that learning management system itself takes around 3 to 4 weeks for anybody. So what was the goal of this 1 week workshop is that you should have access and you should know what are the major functionalities which will be of use when you are deploying this course for your own students in your own scenario. ठीक है, सब कुछ हम लोग एक साथ नहीं सीख सकते ना, धीरे धीरे सीख सकते हैं, थोड़ा थोड़ा आएगा. But once you are able to add activities, then you will be able to explore the different functionalities or use of those activities, right? So it takes time, I agree. You are taking time, that is absolutely normal. I have been using Moodle now for 4.5 years around. So I still sometimes get stuck up at certain points where I need help of some of my colleagues because they have been using those features more. So it is not that it can be learned in a week time. We know that and we agree to that. But yes, one thing we assure you that whenever you have difficulties, you can put up questions. We will take that question. We will address that. You can do that later on after the workshop also. We have been answering questions to participants of our workshop held 2 years ago. So that is something which is very natural to us, and we'll be trying to keep that spirit up with your group also. First, after this, little clarification. Let me ask you one very simple question. And the question is, what is the problem that we have, that we face? Uh, okay. So, the question is, what are the problems with the students of this generation, the millennials? We all have been teaching to the students. Most of our students are now born around the year 2000. So the age group will be 18 up. Okay. So 97, 98 or 18, 2000 born people would be our students. I hope you have similar set of students. So what is the problem with today's students? What do you think? And you need to answer this in a very specific location. You have to open menti.com. You have to open this website menti.com from whatever device you are using, be it mobile, be it laptop. If you have any of the device where you can access internet now, even this phone or laptop are using Meet. Open this website menti.com and enter this given code, that is 326371. Okay, I'll be putting this in the chat also so that you get it right. Okay. So the website is menti.com. It is in the chat, and then the code will be 326331. So enter menti.com website, enter this code when it asks the code for question, and then answer this question. The question is, what are the problems with millennial students? Whatever you are posting now, I will be presenting that at this very moment. I'm putting it up on the website.
Sir, I think you will have to open the question. It is not open for voting right now.
Okay, it's not open for voting.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Currently, I click the shortcut key for closing it. I've been typing a lot here. I have to open that. Wait a minute. I hope many of us teachers are using such kind of activities when you are doing the live classes. Yeah. Okay, so now the voting is open. Please enter the website menti.com and post the question. Answer. You can give a one-word response. You can give a brief statement. Just answer the question. Yeah. So I thank you, whoever has given this first response, and this speaks volumes about the situation we are facing as teachers. That is lack of patience. Anxiety, yeah. Patience, distraction, yes. Tolerance, resources. Okay. Too much technology use, they have, right? They are stressed. Then their focus, I think it means that they are losing their focus. That is attention span, right? Exposure to media, concentration issues. Okay. They waste time on WhatsApp. That's absolutely true. Okay. Yes. So now I think okay, techno savvy but slow learner. Okay, this is a good observation, but let's see whether this observation holds the test of time. Like hard by depression. Yeah. So yeah, everybody should give a response and please be quick. Let's do it in the next 20 seconds. I'll count till 20. So 20, 19, 18, 16, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now please stop voting. I'll close the voting now. Now, this screen is what we believe about our students, right? This this screen summarizes that they are impatient. Yeah, that is true. But the reason for their impatience may be eagerness to learn, right? Okay, they are easily distracted. They are audiovisual learners. That's why we have a lot of ICT being used. Okay, so they are facing a lot of competition. There is a larger group of people fighting for same institution, college, etc. Okay, their attention span is less. This is something which is an observation, but it depends. It varies from person to person. They have concentration issues, right? So how do we address them as teachers? So I'll just post another question for you all. That will be how to address them as students, right? Because if I say that on my own, that will be one person view, but we as a group can uh, answer more than what I can answer as a student, as a teacher. So what are the solutions for the problem? This will again be word count. Okay. So please again go to menti.com and use the code 746074 and answer the question. 746074. The question is, what is the solution to the problems we have just discussed? And if nothing turns up in the next 30 seconds, I will present my solutions to these. Thank you. Yeah. Making the content interesting, agreed. Communicate better, right? We should have management skills. We as teachers, we should ask for group studies. We should ask for more interaction with the students. We should focus on shorter lectures, give personal attention, uh, have proper mentoring, right? We should uh, provide. I don't know why someone put up an apple here as a solution. Okay, so this will keep the doctor away, right? Okay. हम देख सकते हैं बहुत सारे responses हैं जो कि अब repetition आ रहे हैं. So we can make interesting PPTs, right? Okay. So all of the solutions till now is talking about making the way of learning more engaging, more learner centric, right? By involving lot of communication. It talks about keeping the lecture short. Okay. So I'll now move to the presentation. There's a brief presentation. It's not about all the solutions, but to some part of the learning process, we can have a solution. So I'm just pointing to those possible solutions. Okay. So after this brief session, because it will be going beyond the presentation, okay, you should be able to describe and differentiate the formative and the summative assessments. You should be able to create formative assessment sheets, summative assessment sheets. We have been doing this, I understand, but sometimes as teachers of higher education, we have not been trained to create these formally. Like teacher till class 12th has proper education about how to educate. That is the B.Ed course. So that's why these things come into the picture. Right. So we should articulate the benefits. We should be able to state the benefits of formative assessment and the benefits of summative assessments. And we should be able to know when we should use the formative assessment and when to deploy the summative assessment. Okay. And also there is the important concept of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so we should be able to understand what is Bloom's taxonomy, and we should be able to pair up our formative summative assessment questions so that they match to certain levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So this will be discussed in the current topic. And at the last, when the day ends, that is the 2-hour session ends, we should be able to use different forms of questioning, creating questions quizzes on Moodle, so that we are able to make the learning process more engaging for the students. Because we have agreed among the group now that the engagement which the students feel with the content is something which is really important. And the poor engagement will affect the learning process itself. And we all have joined together so that we are making more meaningful learning process for our students. Right. So now, when are we assessed? When someone judges us, that can be in an interview, that can be a PhD viva, that can be a master's or bachelor's examination viva, that can be a written examination. Okay. So I'm not asking you to post because you already given 2 responses now. But when we are assessed, we can have a negative experience. Okay, just think for a moment. What makes any assessment a negative experience? Okay. So if someone is assessing and you are the assessee, if your aspects of assessment are focused on the skills required for the assessment, the required for the job, then you won't have any negative experience. But if it is focused more, if it goes more on the personal aspect, then you will feel, okay, this was not something required. Okay. This is one way assessment can go negative. The other way will be that if you ask questions which is out of syllabus and the student hasn't studied, then there is no point, no way he is going to score good. So he will have a negative experience. Similarly, there are experiences which are positive. What makes an assessment positive? So it is not always a very high marks which when it is scored. सिर्फ ज़्यादा नंबर मिलने से कोई बच्चा ये नहीं कहता है कि उसका assessment अच्छा हुआ. He was assessed nicely. When the questions are probing enough, when he or she has to apply certain level of thinking process, then only it gives them a positive experience, right? So sometimes ऐसा कमेंट आपने भी कभी किया होगा, पेपर में मजा आ गया, करना पड़ा लेकिन मुश्किल था, but कर पाए. So if they are tested with respect to the skills they have acquired during the process of learning. Then, and when that skills are tested, they feel it right. The testing process will be respected, and whatever score they get, that score will be cherished by them. उनको पसंद आएगा कि हाँ हमने इतनी मेहनत की उसमें हमें ये 60 आए या 80 आए या 85 आए या 90 आए. This is the fruit of my labor. मेरी मेहनत का फल. Right. So this is what a positive experience should give to the student. Okay. Uh, Now, what is assessment as such? Just for the sake of discussion, evaluation of learnings gained by students by using methods which is available to teachers, and also we should focus that it should be related to overall instructional process. Right? If assessment सिर्फ कुछ क्वेश्चंस का आंसर लेना नहीं है, असेसमेंट सिर्फ ये देखना नहीं कि वो कितना काम कर पा रहा है, वो ये देखना है कि वो सीख पा रहा था कि नहीं, whether he was able to understand during the process whatever steps were being taught, have all those steps been learned by them. ठीक है, so ये जो process है, process also matters. Okay, only the learnings don't matter, the process also matters, and when we are assessing we should evaluate both the learnings and the whether he or she has understood the process towards that gaining of those learnings. दोनों चीजों का assessment करना जरूरी हो जाता है. So there are two terms. I hope everybody is familiar. So formative assessments and summative assessments. Okay. So both of them are interconnected, but they are distinct from each other. Okay. In a 6 months or 1 year course, you cannot have only formative assessment or only summative assessment. That's why we have internal exams. Those are example of formative assessments. Okay, and then we have summative assessment, the final exams by the university. Okay, so the formative assessments are a bit informal. Why I'm saying informal? Because that is happening in the campus by the teachers who are teaching those very students. Okay, with there can be an interaction like in the Viva was saying. Okay, and in that we can not only declare a result for them, we also try to give them some feedbacks like small comments that you did this wrong, or this is not the right answer, you should look for this particular reference. Okay, so these kind of feedbacks are given in the answer sheets of internal exams, but you hardly provide these sheets, these feedback in the end semester exam or the final examination. Why? Because you know that students won't be usually getting chance to see those answer sheets, right? Purposely show them the answer sheets so that they have to understand that what were the errors they committed, गलती कहाँ की है, और उसके बाद वो उसको पढ़ पाएंगे, सीख पाएंगे. तो प्रोसेस बीच में हो रहा है during the learning process. That is formative assessment. Okay, this is the greatest impact on learning and achievement. So 6 महीने एक पढ़ाने के बाद एग्जाम लेते हैं या साल भर पढ़ाने के बाद एग्जाम लेते हैं और उसके बाद बताते हैं कि आप ये नहीं सीख पाए, then the entire year has been lost. ठीक है, why lost? Because he can't go 1 year back and then learn it again. Okay, either he gets passed or he gets to repeat. So सीखने का साल तो चला गया ना, so that is not something which is advisable. What is formative assessment? It is assessment for learning. Now I am highlighting this again. It is assessment for learning. Right? So how much they are learning, what they have learned. Okay. So this assessment is taken at varying intervals throughout a course. During a course, you can start the first day also with an assessment when you haven't taught anything. That will be, entry feedback kind of thing where you will know what is the level of understanding the students have, how you are going to tackle them. So that can be an assessment because that is part of the learning process. So if you have taken a class and you come next day, then you can have a brief question answer session, okay, or a brief quiz given to them that will be related to the previous content you have taught. So that will give an idea whether it has already been understood by everybody or you need to do certain repetition of the content. This is something which we have been doing, okay, but we haven't classified them in this kind of setup, right? So these formative assessments are taken in various intervals. So some teachers will take this weekly, some will take do this in once in a 15 days or once in a month setup. Sometimes some teachers do this only for the sake of internal examinations. Like now, how they affect our learning processes, they they find the quality of learning the students are undergoing, and they also point to us the quality of the course itself. So if the mode of teaching them or the course content is not being relatable to the students, then it is possible that our course is obsolete now. We should have a revision for that. That's why every year the courses are revised in the board of studies meetings and all. So this is a planned process. The formative assessment is a planned process, and it is planned by the teacher himself. Okay, and the students and the teachers are part of this process to gather some evidence. Okay, and that evidence gathered is supposed to point that the learning is going in the right direction, and the instructional methods applied are also going in the right direction, and learning is happening. So here we are not talking about them performing a particular act or giving answer to a long question, okay, or giving complete derivation if they can do that or not. It is not about what they can do. It is about what they have been doing, whether they have been doing it right or wrong. Right? And moreover, it is not about right and wrong itself. It is about whether they are doing it or not. Okay, whether they are participating in the process or not. So once the student is ready to participate, there will be at least some level of learning. It may vary with the abilities of the individual students. So the formative assessment is happening during the learning process, and it gives certain set of information to both teachers and the students. हम लोगों को सबको पता लगता है कि हमारे बच्चे सीख पा रहे हैं या नहीं सीख पा रहे हैं. स्टूडेंट्स को ही पता लग जाता है कि वो सीख पा रहे हैं कि नहीं सीख पा रहे हैं. ठीक है. और अगर हमें पता लग गया कि वो सीख नहीं पा रहे हैं, तो what should we do? We should ideally adjust the instructional system, how we are teaching them. So if theory classes aren't able to make a concept clear, we would switch to something which is different from the usual setup. We can go for a video lecture, we can go for a practical demonstration, we can go for a real life scenario, industry visit. There are many more things that can happen besides the chalk and board method. Right? Now this formative assessment involves the students. They are supposed to participate. They are supposed to be active and do something in this process during the learning process. Okay. So this cannot be hence separated from the instructional process. This is part of the process of learning. Okay. And it is supposed to be assessment for learning only. Okay, nothing more, nothing less. When can we do this kind of assessment? This is a very big question. Sir, questions ही पूछते रहेंगे तो पढ़ेंगे कब? So that depends on how able you are in creating different kinds of questions. Okay. So a question cannot be created just because it is your job. A question should be created so that it gathers certain information about the learning abilities at the level of understanding the students have. There can be three major points of instruction where you can put up formative assessments. That is when you are teaching them during the instruction, during the lecture hour, in the class. Okay. Between the lessons, so you can use Moodle. After your class, you post a set of questions and ask them to answer this when they revise the topic at their home. Okay. And or you can have a periodic intervention. One unit खत्म हो गया, इसके बाद क्वेश्चन सेट दे दिया और उसके बाद उनसे कहा कि अब यूनिट कितनी अच्छी हुई है, रिवाइज करके इस यूनिट इस क्वेश्चन को करके सेट को करके देख लीजिए. So in this way, these are the three major point of instruction where you can have formative assessment. And remember, ये पूरे कोर्स के लिए मैंने एक बार भी बात नहीं की. During the lecture, between the lessons, or between the units, syllabus will always be small. A one class syllabus or a one lesson syllabus or a one unit syllabus. This is the key point of formative assessment, that it is done more number of times for smaller syllabus setup. And most formative assessments occur during the instruction. जो आप पूछते हैं क्वेश्चंस बच्चों से यही है, लेकिन जब Moodle पे करेंगे तब कैसे करेंगे, एक क्वेश्चन है. Because if the students are online and you are not in the live interaction like we are now, then how will you ask questions? So for that, Moodle has certain ways of questioning. Now there is a cycle of formative assessment where you have to first understand that the questions which you are asking to the students should be able to gather certain information, whether they have understood the concept, whether they can apply those concepts, whether they can use that concept to build upon another concept in the learning process. Okay, so you have to identify that in the beginning of the instruction process. शुरुआत में ही देख लेना है कि जब मैं आज पढ़ाऊंगा तो मैं कौन से क्वेश्चन उनसे इस बीच में पूछूंगा. ठीक है, जो आप पढ़ा रहे हैं उससे रिलेटेड ही होना चाहिए फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. So when you give them the questions, second part would be to gather the response. So there can be many ways we can gather responses. Like I used Mentimeter today. It's an online way to gather responses. You can have a screenshot for that. You can save that. It's always saved in your profile on menti.com. Okay, and it's free of cost, right? So everyone can maintain that. But once you get the response, what you're supposed to do that with that response, you should have an idea. Like in today's response, out of around 100 people, around 50 voted for the first question and around 30 voted for the second question. So that means all are not participating. That gives me instant feedback that you need to be more motivated so that you are taking part in the instructional process happening right now. Right? So that kind of data analysis needs to be done when you ask any questions. तो होता क्या है, एक पूरी क्लास में अगर हमने 60 या 100 की क्लास में एक क्वेश्चन पूछा और 5 बच्चों ने आंसर दे दिया, so we really become happy, चलो समझ में इन लोगों को आ गया, and we move forward. But what about the rest of the students? Practical difficulty is there. हम सारे 60 या 100 लोगों से क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ सकते हैं, क्लास तो वैसे ही खत्म हो जाएगी, राइट? To help in that process, we can use online technologies. हम उनको जो response sheet देंगे उसमें data gather हो जाएगा, it will be stored there for long time, and we can anytime use that to do certain analysis. कि 60 में कितने लोगों ने सही आंसर दिया, अगर 60 लोगों ने सही आंसर दिया, we are in the heaven. अगर सिर्फ 2, 3, 5 नहीं दिया, that means the concept needs to be understood again. Okay, so that is responding to data. कि हम वापस से अपनी इंस्ट्रक्शनल मेथड को चेंज करके सेम चीज को फिर से डिस्कस करें. मे बी हम क्लासरूम सेटअप से बाहर निकल जाए, मे बी हम किसी और के वीडियो सेशन को उनको एक्सेस दे दें. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि वो हमसे इन पर्सन ही सीख रहे हैं. वी कैन ऑल्सो हैव अ रोल ऑफ फैसिलिटेटर, उनको राइट कंटेंट तक पहुंचा सकते हैं. देन दे विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड बेटर. They will still be grateful because we told them the right place where they could get the knowledge. Okay, knowledge is something which is shareable and should be shared. Okay, and if that is happening, if we are responding to data, then we should also check whether our initial objectives or goals or standards were right or not. Okay, so that we can have a continuous revision of our course content also. This is the learning process is not only that the student should do the labor. It is about us as teachers and as management to understand that our course needs to be updated. The ways of instruction needs to be changed so that the students are able to understand, right? So there are some strategies about giving assessments, okay, and how to use the formative assessments, the purposes for using the formative assessments. So for the direction, whether they are going in the right direction or not. Okay. So we should provide them some assessment to provide them clear learning targets. Okay. Like for this Moodle course, we are giving you assessments. So if we are not giving you assessments, so that you are ranked or you are supposed to pass an exam, right? Everybody is going to get a completion certificate if you provide complete all the activities. Okay, and there is absolutely no competition. There is no comparison that somebody to be performing better. So we are not going to do anything special for that person. This should be taken as a constructive advice. It is more about your participation. This is something which is intrinsic to the learning process, that your participation should be there and you should complete all the activities. Right. Now, we can use strong examples, and we can have the students provide us examples for a given scenario which is पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो उसमें बच्चों से ही पूछ सकते हैं example बताओ, and then we can compare them that this is a better example and this one is not. Why? There should be a reason. So in that will compel them to understand that they are not thinking in the right way, and they should understand the differences in the similar situations. फर्क क्या है? Now, second, how much they have already learned. For them, we should provide them descriptive feedback in our formative assessments, and we should carry our assessments in such a way that what has been taught should be evaluated only when we are trying to have this learning goal, their current status. Okay. So we should also ask them to do self-assessments, set their goals that they will complete this kind of questions or this unit or this topic by this day, and then they will do self-assessment. They can do self-assessment using lot of resources already available. Okay, they can have lot of internet access where there are questions for every topic. They can go and answer those questions themselves, and when they see their score, they will be able to know that they do not know everything. Then they need to learn more. This is the purpose of asking questions with the objective that where am I now, my current status. And then the last part for this will be, how can I close the gap? So if I have done assessment and I know that the students are having a lacuna, they are not able to understand certain part of the syllabus, right? So what can we do then? We should design lessons to focus on that aspect. We should design questions, answer to which will make them learn that particular aspect. So if we have taken 10 topics in a unit and topic number 5 and 6 were less understood, what can we do? We can simply direct a straightforward assignment or a question, or we can give a small mini project to them related to those two topics if it is feasible. Yeah, it is something subjective. अगर बन सकता है तो. So that will also give them a chance to focus more on those topics only. Right. Then we should teach the students to go for revisions, and for them we can have a revision quiz. Okay, during the teaching process. Okay, and then we can have self-reflections, and let them keep tracking and sharing their learning. So this is particularly why we have the workshop activity with you, where you are submitting your assignments and your group is evaluating that, so that when you evaluate other assignments, you are able to understand that this is something which they could do and I can also do. I will have to just see how they did it. And if the person is known, you should not feel any inhibition. कोई मन में शंका नहीं रखिए. Ask the person, how did you do it? Because peer learning is more feasible, more result oriented than learning from a teacher, right? This is this is evident by a lot of researchers now. Over last 20 years, there have been a lot of researches. लोग कहते हैं कि बच्चे बच्चों से ज़्यादा सीखते हैं, टीचर्स से कम सीखते हैं. So that is something I don't take it as an insult towards teachers. It actually means that in our own group, we are more open to ask questions than we are open to a teacher. So that is something which is, yeah, true, more friendly. They are more friendly among their own student groups. So they will be more interactive. If we can make them interact in the class, well and good. But we should understand that they have this general nature to be more open to their own friends. Right? अगर वो हमारे साथ फ्रेंडली बिहेवियर करेंगे तो हम में से कई बुरा भी मान सकते हैं ना. Okay. Then we come to summative assessments. So what are summative assessments? These are methods of the traditional way where we create, say, a 10 question set or a 20 question set and ask them to answer any 5 of those 10 or any 10 of those 20 or 16 of those 20. And then we will be evaluating that long answer, short answer questions. Uh, this is usually done at the end of the course or the subject after half year this semester or a 1 year exam, and that is having a particular intention or goal. इसका purpose क्या है? To concentrate uh, the outcomes we have already set for the course, learning outcomes जो set किया है हमने कि इस course को करने के बाद बच्चे क्या क्या कर पाएंगे, क्या skill acquire कर पाएंगे. So summative assessment is supposed to assess those skills, yeah, outcomes, the results, rather than कि वो कैसे सीख पा रहे हैं. So it is more of the learning outcomes assessment rather than the learning process assessment. Uh, they should reflect the results of the formative assessment which already have been done by us. हमने अगर 3 mid semester examinations लिए हैं, internal examinations लिए हैं और तीनों में बच्चों के 19 out of 20 आ रहे हैं, तो समेटिव में भी उनके पास फिर उसी रेशियो में मार्क्स आने चाहिए. अगर समेटिव में मार्क्स उस रेशियो में नहीं आ रहे हैं, that means either our formative assessments were not done properly or the summative assessment is not right. Okay, so the ideal situation is that both should correlate. Both should correlate, and best is that after formative assessments, students should be able to give a good result in summative assessment. क्योंकि learning process ठीक रहा होगा, तो summative assessment भी ठीक होना चाहिए, अच्छा होना चाहिए. ओके, एंड इसमें परसेंटेज का जो एक concept है that students scoring 95% are more able than students scoring 60% or 70%. ये भी concept it also should be changed. Yeah, that is true. It is a metric to compare the students and their abilities. Okay, but the question should not be directed only to get a percentage from the student as their answers will say. It should be directed to know how much they have learned. Purpose to यही था, but we have somehow in the long process of education over centuries we have changed from the learner outcomes to the percentage itself. So the percentage may not be reflective according to today's kind of assessment we do to the right assessment. Right. The assessment should always match the material taught. This is something which is related to the syllabus. Out of syllabus questions to नहीं आ गया. In the formative assessment, you can well ask out of syllabus questions to make them understand there is more to learn. But in summative assessments, you can never ask a question out of their syllabus. That will be questionable legally also. Okay. So there are many ways of formative assessment used during this presentation. आप आगे जाकर के पढ़ेंगे क्योंकि मुझे कई चीजें और एड्रेस करनी है. I'll be discussing. Okay, I'll take think, pair, share. So, how many of us know what is think, pair, share? Can you post in the chat box? Please post in the chat box. Please post in the chat box if you know what is think, pair, share. Okay. So, okay, so you know that recently. So I won't be then taking that. That's why I asked this. Okay, 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 very good. Thank you, thank you. Stop responding, please. I got the message. I wasn't aware that you had the contents of that FDP. I knew the FDP has happened. Right. So then let's talk about anticipation guide. So this is something which is always very useful. Whenever you start a class, in that class you should present an anticipation guide. That what should the students learn after this class? What should be they able to do after this class? This is a practice which we usually ignore. Why? Because it takes some time to design the session which we are going to take with the students. डेली हम लोग ऐसा काम करते नहीं है. अक्सर होता है जल्दी होती है, बहुत सारे काम और भी होते हैं, हम लोग चले जाते हैं, चौक ले लिया या बोर्ड मार्कर ले लिया और जाकर बोर्ड पर पढ़ाना शुरू कर दिया. बिकॉज हमको आता है तो हम पढ़ा सकते हैं, राइट. बट इफ वी हैव सम रिफ्लेक्शन ऑन दैट, we ask the students with the anticipation guide, if we ask the students whether they are fulfilling this anticipation guide, or we should ask the students to create their own anticipation, that while did you learn with this topic, what can you do, then that will be more relatable to them. So this is one way. So then something about the summative assessments, I'll go with the slide. Okay. So it should be aligned with the curriculum outcomes. And now the NAC and the NBA all are talking about the learning outcomes or outcome-based education. So all these course has certain course outcomes and the program outcomes. So you should see that the assessments are actually asking questions relevant to those outcomes. Now, exit achievement by the students should be given to them. There should be a final decision, grade or report, that is absolutely correct. But if we compare the types of assessment, we'll see the purposes are different. So formative is more about giving feedback and adjustment to instruction, while summative is more about instructional segment, how the students have learned the concept. It's in evaluation of their learnings. Okay, this is about the learning process. It is always done after the instruction has been done, usually 6 or 1 month, 6 months or 1 year duration. This is during the process. This is always encouraging the students to participate, and summative assessments are sometimes discouraged. Why? Because students are quite wary, and there may be a chance that one student who is not doing well, is not attending classes well, just barely manages to secure the minimum attendance required. That student also will be able to mug up everything and then fare well in the summative assessment. So summative assessment then will lose its meaning. It should assess both the learning the outcomes the student have learned or not, and then there should be a distinction between the students who are attending classes and learning it, and ones who are not doing the following the due process. Right? Then the motivation by which students should appear also varies. The summative assessment is something which is due to the marks, the percentage the students are derived to compelled to appear in the summative examination, because they know without it they won't be passing the course, right? And in the formative assessment, it is something they should be able to relate to. They should know that after this assessment, which I should be able to understand whether I am learning it or not. So this is something their intrinsic nature, intrinsic motivation that is happening. Okay. And the last is the impact on learning. You should understand that the formative assessments are very, very important. They give a lot of positive vibes to the students and the teacher. They are having long-lasting effect on the students' learning process, while summative assessment is not that useful. Sorry, the spelling of weak is wrong here. Okay. Now, hope you also have had sessions about Bloom's taxonomy in the previous FDP. So, what questions should I focus on? Let me see the chat. Okay. So there is a lot of question about the Moodle assignment given to you all. Anybody could respond? Should I show that entire assessment how it is done? This is the course. So this is the assignment we have been talking about. Okay, and this is what you see. I am in the teacher mode. I can see the details here. I'll switch role to the student. So as a student, you have this view available, right? So this is open for assessment, and you are supposed to do that. Now, there was a video created for this purpose. I hope you have watched that. Okay. Uh, so Jatin sir, are you there?
Yes, sir. Please tell.
Okay. So what is the specific query participants have about this assignment?
Okay. Sorry, sir. What did you ask exactly?
What is
How
the
many
specific
participants?
yeah? What is the specific question I have to address?
The thing is, I from the questions, from their questions, I am able to understand that they are not able to visualize how this assignment will go forward. That is, how will it work? So, and some even have the query like some things have not been included in our this thing because in our FDP, because like for example surveys, how to add surveys. So those
Yeah,
kind of things that we have not added. So will they be evaluated for that or not? Uh,
yeah. Okay, so please understand that this evaluation is not going to affect or cause any grades or kind of thing. This was just to given to have you give you an experience of how peer assessment is done on Moodle. Okay, and the benefits of peer assessment should be visible to you all. So okay, now this is we are in midway of the process. So what happens is when we create an assignment and we evaluate it as teachers, right? So it will be 100 assignment to be evaluated by us teachers, and we after that evaluation we should be ideally providing them feedback. What why the assignment did not get a full marks and what is being missed in those assignments. So we all give assignment to our students and we all do this evaluation normally. But when in Moodle we have this feature that we distribute the assignment to other students, and since all of them have been following the same learning process, the other student will have a chance to assess the work done by the peer, their classmates, right? So in this workshop, all those who are attending are you can be treated as classmates in this FDP, right? So some of you will assess the assignments created by other people. Now when you assess those assignments, you will understand and you will have to give the feedback. You understand that there are deficiencies that can happen, and you will understand that some people could do it better than me. Then you will have an idea like how to write learning outcomes. This is part of this assignment. So some of us would be writing just 2 learning outcomes or 1 learning outcome, or we'll have a 20-point learning outcome setup. But ideally, it should be related to the program outcomes, and there should be 4 to 5 learning outcomes available for one course. Maximum 6 is advisable. So for one particular subject. So if you see these kind of things
sir,
happening,
sorry to interrupt you, but I think there is some delay in your voice. So, there might be some network issue from your side.
I'll have to
Kindly
check
check
the
that.
net
And
speed.
uh, yes, net issue is there today because of rainy season. We also have over here rains, and Mumbai also is having facing rains. And sir, some people are saying that they are not able to assess it, and
Yeah.
they are not able to see the steps how to assess it that are given to assess. So can you just show an example of an assessment in this particular thing so that they will be able to understand it, how exactly to go
So,
ahead?
since I am not a student there and I haven't given a submission, so I should not be able to assess it right now. I'll just try, give a try. I have to change the role first. But if I change my role now, I will be the student and I won't be able to assign myself. I should first go for assigning. Yeah. So these are the assignments. Now Deepika Arora submission. Let me see. Jatin sir, have you assigned the peer assessment to everyone?
Yes, sir. I think it was allocated, but those people who haven't submitted, to them the assignment, the allocation would not have been done. So let me just
Uh,
try it from my side. If I have that student part in this, then I will
yeah,
show that how to do
because only a student can assess in peer assessment. A teacher role cannot assess in peer
that. Okay.
assessment.
Okay. Let's see if anyone has got direct. Can anyone share the screen? Is there someone who can share it and can
Yeah, I
show
can
them
stop my
our
screen
screen?
sharing.
Yes. So then we can guide
Guide
them
them.
where how to go.
So anybody can share their screen and
Yes, Arti
reshare.
man, you can go ahead. If you can share your screen, then you can go ahead. Arti ma'am is asking, can you guide one of us while you present it for others? Surely,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Arti ma'am.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Happy ma'am,
Please
please
go
go
to
ahead.
the
No issue. Happy
share your
Jane ma'am
screen.
is asking, sir, may I? Please go ahead, Happy ma'am. Let's go with Happy ma'am first. Then we'll also take Arti ma'am's screen. Okay. You can share the screen, Happy ma'am. Arti ma'am, let Happy ma'am present first, and then you also present. You also show, right? And yes, Happy ma'am, we are waiting. No issue.
Please share the screen. Happy Jan sir. Uh, so there are two screen shares now. Aarti ma'am, please, Aarti ma'am, please stop sharing because we are having two screen shares right now. Okay.
Arti ma'am, you can also show
Yeah,
afterwards. If you have any doubts, you can also show once Happy ma'am stops presenting. No issue in
okay,
that. Let's go with one participant at a time.
okay. Now, please click on SS, right?
Happy ma'am, I would suggest you just stop screen sharing once and again reshare it, because the view of the participants would have changed because of two screen sharing at a time. So just unshare it once and then again reshare it. Yes.
Sir,
Right now it is not visible. I think you need to share
okay,
it once
okay, sir,
again.
just a second. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Now, sir,
Maybe not.
Yeah, now it is coming up.
yeah.
Okay. Yes, it's coming now. That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
So
Please
please
go ahead.
browse and click on SS.
Okay, sir.
If you have
I
any,
have clicked, I think.
okay, okay. So now you see there is the link there. trimaquadros.genomio.com, right? And then they have given the prescribed user ID, temp user, and the password which was given in the assignment. That is guest star 1234. Okay. Now
Yes, sir.
browse down, and you will see instructions for assessment.
Okay, sir. So this link I have to browse down.
No, first browse in this window itself. Reach to the instructions for assessment.
Okay. Okay. So may I click over this HTTPS remark?
Yeah, first you click on the rimaquadros.genomio. Don't click on it. Open it in a new window. Open this in a new window.
Okay. Okay, I have opened it new window. I'm sharing that window now.
So don't share this window now. Go back to the Moodle website.
Okay.
Go back to the Moodle website first.
Okay.
Both
Okay.
windows
Okay.
should
I'm
be
sharing this.
yeah.
Yes, I'm sharing this window, and I
Yeah.
have opened that one in another.
Scroll down. Scroll down.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now follow the rubrics for assessment. Click on the instruction for assessment. The blue colored font. Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
So
I have clicked. So
you have previously opened that. Okay. Now the follow the rubrics. Now what are the rubrics? Can you show us the rubrics?
not exactly, sir. It's like the giving marking.
Yeah, marking scheme. The rubrics is a marking scheme, right? The
Yeah.
rubrics is a marking scheme, and where you
Yes.
will find that, you will find that in the assignment itself.
Okay.
You will find that in the assignment
Sir,
itself.
sir, I'm not getting it. Actually, after clicking over instruction for assessment, we are just this follow the rubric assessment. Like got hidden.
Okay.
Nothing else we are able to see. Those are like as we have seen criterias given in video, but we are not able to see those here.
Okay. Then I'll have to check the settings which is there in this assignment. Let me have a check.
Yes.
Please have patience.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Please stop screen sharing. I have
Yes, sir.
given a submission, and I am going to evaluate that.
Okay, sir. I'm stopping it. Thank you, sir.
I think my screen is now going to be visible.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. So I have given a submission here as a student, and I'll just try to assign that to myself. to sub. Jatin sir, can you do that for me? Because I think I have submitted. I won't be able to assign that to myself. Assign to me any submission. Yeah, currently I have no submission there, no assignment to be graded. Kindly assign any submission to me. This is also a very important part of the peer assessment, that one who has not submitted the assignment will not be able to get any assignment to assess. That means it will be a double loss for the student who has not participated in the initial process, right? So that also motivates them to submit the assignment, okay, because they will then be able to complete the entire process. Jatin sir, have you done that?
Sir, I'm trying to make an assignment through my student account. If that
Yes.
is done, I'll tell you. You can do one thing. You can go ahead with next topic.
So you are
Once
there as
my
you are there
yes,
as
yes. So once my assignment has been done, actually I had done one for an example, but as per my talk with Singh sir, I had removed it because we had a talk like if we
so
submit it, then
you
we will be given some assignments for evaluation,
you
and
submit
as we wanted the
the
participants.
you submit the
Sorry, sir.
farmer chart or Xenopio as assignment. I will evaluate that because the process will
Sure,
remain
sure, sure,
the same. Right? You
sure,
submit
sure,
farmer
sir.
form, Xenopio
No issue.
assignment.
I'm just doing that itself. No issue.
It will take a minute to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Meanwhile, I would like to also highlight that this is one of the most powerful tool the Moodle has, gamification and the workshop mode where students get to evaluate the other students' assignment. Right. So this has many advantages. They get to know what others are doing and what they need to learn, and also that also allows them to think out of box. So if one student is doing 5 evaluation or 3 evaluation, he will be getting to know 3 more ways of doing the same thing, 3 more ways to achieve the same goal. Okay, so this was about course creation, but let's suppose this was about answering a simple question in physics or describing a poetry in English, right? So once a student gets to evaluate 3 submissions for a given poem, okay, he will know 3 explanations or 3 ways to describe or 3 ways to answer the same question. Okay, uh, two of them may match, but at least he will get one newer idea which he could not think of. So in this way, the broad outlook is there created in their mindset. Then they later on go on to become more enabled workers for the society. Right.
Sir, I have done that. You can check it. You can check my assignment is there or not, and you can assign some assignments to me.
Until I reach the student role, I won't be getting that. It still shows I don't have any submission to assess. I don't know why, but I think you haven't assigned that to me right now.
Okay, I'm just checking that.
I'll refresh also. Let's see. Yeah.
Sir, I was not able to see your name, but what I've done is I have assigned my submission to Happy Ma'am. So Happy Ma'am will be able to again share the screen and show it on her screen. She will be having that my assignment to be
Okay,
reviewed.
I'm then stopping my screen sharing. Let Happy Ma'am share her screen. But it would have been more convenient if I would have done that on my screen. Let's see.
Still visible?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
visible, ma'am. Just refresh it.
Then repeat. Let me do it one more time. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I supposed to do?
It should have opened in a way that you should be able to assess.
I will do one thing, sir. I'll change the assessment deadline,
Yeah.
and then the assessment phase will open. So let me change that.
Yeah. Done that, sir?
Yes, sir. I just changed the submission deadlines, and now I am changing the. Just a second. Okay, so now I have changed the assessment deadline. Also, it is open for assessment. You can just refresh it. Try to refresh it, ma'am, and see whether you get it or not. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I have replaced it. So may I open the specific one or anyone?
Anyone you can.
Anyone, anyone.
Okay, sir. Yes. So, yeah, it's working now.
Yeah. Now, if you see,
Yeah.
if you
Done.
see, there are certain criteria mentioned. Okay, whether website
Yes.
name is present or not. So that's why I asked you to open the website to be assessed in a separate
Yes.
window. Okay. So once you open it in a
Yes.
separate window, you can easily switch between the windows and see whether each criterion is met or not. Okay,
Yes.
whether each criterion
Yes,
met or
sir.
not.
Yeah,
So just try to do that quickly so that we are able to see. Okay.
okay, fine, sir. Website name.
Okay. Now
Okay, it's
website name.
available.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's available and working. Your course on website. That means Rima scores, right?
Yeah, remarks. The person you are
Okay.
assessing, everything will be for that website and that course.
For person.
And if
Okay,
it
fine.
is in the real life scenario, if the students are submitting, say, replies or a long answer assignment kind of thing, then it will be the assignment submitted by others. You cannot assess yourself. That's why I could not get my assignment submission like here. And Reliant also
Okay,
was
sir.
not available. Like, okay. So uh, go on for the
What I
next
would
question.
Yes.
suggest is, ma'am, whenever you people do this assessment, at that
Yeah.
time try to make a neutral assessment, neutral evaluation, okay, and try to see all the features available in the colleagues Moodle. So it might
Okay.
happen some colleague would have added many things. It might happen some colleague would have focused on a small thing, right? So that is not a big issue. The thing is you will also learn. Happy ma'am, you can just mute yourself. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, happy ma'am. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Now the big issue is that you will as a user you also need to learn the UI, right? So UI is a major thing. You would remember that in last session I was not able to access the question bank part just because I would give the reason is that the Moodle that this we are using in the Pharmacare site is a new Moodle 3.8, and the version that I am using in my own Moodle is 3.5. So it is a lots of difference in UI, and that's why I was quickly not able to find the latest point or latest button on through which I can access the question bank, right? So in this way, you need to learn how to remember or how to use the UI. That is the first most thing that is visible to you, right? So the UI is very simple in case of Moodle, but it has got lots of options. There is, for example, if you see, there is an underline for links, or there is an underline for session headings also, right? Each button has a different some specific type of color, right? And when a particular session is inactive, it has a light color in, and when it is active, the color becomes more dark. So in this way you need to understand how the UI is working, what the UI wants to convey, what message does the UI wants to convey to us, whether that UI is available, whether it is usable, whether the part of the UI that we want to use is usable or not, right? So for example, here the madam is clicking on all the criteria, and she is saying whether the self enrollment part is available in the Rima ma'am's Moodle or not, whether it is available but it is accessible or not, and whether it is available and accessible both, right? So accessible means it looks to you but you are not able to open it, right? The way the thing that was happening with us currently before some time, right? Because of the restrictions or because of the deadlines that we had put, that the assessment should begin from some particular time and date, and we should end at that is the sorry submission should start with some particular date and time, and then end at should at some time and date, and then automatically the evaluation phase will start at some date and time, and then will end at some date and time. So this automatic behavior has to be understand, the UI has to be understand and accordingly used, right? So our main aim was to make you people aware with how others are using the same UI that is provided to you, how maximum possible way they are utilizing the UI also. Some might have utilized it in a low way, and some might have utilized it as much as maximum possible. So that was the main aim behind this particular workshop idea. Okay. So I can see there are lots of submissions happened. Yesterday I saw there were about 71 submissions, and today there is an increase in submissions. So That's very good.
Yeah. Okay.
May I
So
stop my screen
yeah,
sharing, sir?
yeah. Please stop screen sharing. Okay. There is
Uh,
one
Okay, sir.
let's.
chat box.
Yes, if anyone has any issues, you can ask. Then, or else we will go to
So,
Ranjan sir. Will go to next
so, uh,
topic.
so how to check self enrollment?
Yeah. So for self-enrollment, you need to see the self-enrollment option. It should be available on the course. Please go to the
Okay.
website. Go to the website you are accessing right now. Go to that website.
Yes.
Open that.
Okay, okay. So inside the course, there must be something like
Yeah,
self
yeah.
enrollment
Please go to the
option.
website.
Okay, I'm there, but I'm not able to see that option.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you are not able to see that option,
Ma'am,
it's unavailable.
I will share the screen, sir. Just a second. Happy ma'am, you can unshare your screen. I will share my screen.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
In that case, I can also do that, Jatin sir.
Just I
Wherein,
short. It's done, sir. Just a minute.
by that, I will be having more command also for the presentation.
Okay. So now you people can see this is our own Pharmasar site, and you all had done the self-enrollment itself, right? When you go to our Pharmasar site, you can see from here that the self-enrollment is active. If this part is being seen, and just by putting the this thing, your mouse cursor on it, if you are able to see the self-enrollment, that it means it is available, right? If you click on this thing, then you need to create an account, and that account will already be given to you, right? A temp user will already be provided to you. So when you log in with the temp user, you will again be shown the same course part, because you would not have been enrolled in it, right? It may happen many of you might even enrolled the temp user in the course. So then that would be better. From by logging with the temp user, you would be directly be able to go to the course of your colleague. Okay, and that's what we have to do. You have to access your colleague's course and see whether they have started utilizing all the features of the Moodle or not, and accordingly you have to give them the grade. And this grades won't be used for your evaluation. This is just for your experience, okay, of having or using Moodle. Sir, please continue.
Hello,
Okay.
sorry to interrupt, Jatin sir. Still on my screen, the rubric is not visible.
When you start
Hello.
assessing the assignment, then it will get visible, ma'am. Did you start us?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it is there. I've currently logged in into it, and when I click on instructions for assignment, it is just giving me the same message. Follow the rubrics for assignment of your peers work, but nothing comes as you had shown now on the screen.
Okay. Okay. Can you share the screen, ma'am?
Yeah.
Please share it.
So share.
It will take some time to load. It has
There is
not
some
yet
lag.
loaded. No, ma'am, it is not yet loaded. Can you just again present it?
Now check.
Yes, it is coming. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead. Okay, this
Okay, then
here the rubrics won't come. No.
click on the access button. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I got it.
Welcome. Please answer now, please. Aarti ma'am, if you have any issue, you can share your screen. Aarti ma'am. Amita ma'am is asking on the mobile process will be same. Ma'am, if the browser supports it, then surely it will be same. No issue in that. You will have to only open it in the browser. You will not be able to open it in the Moodle application because the services, web services are not working. Okay, Aarti
And
ma'am is saying it's working. Okay, please sir, please go
there,
ahead.
there is one comment by someone that says that uh, it should be yeah. So rubric is not seen. Nilima Prabhu Madam has said rubric is not seen. So once you click on assess, then only the rubric will be visible. Before that, it won't be visible. You have to enter one assessment. There, it will be giving you the rubrics, and it is always advisable to open the submission on the next window so that you can switch and go through the submission, come back and mark the various points of assessment in the given rubric. Right. Okay. And Jatin sir, there were a few comments that they haven't got any assignment for assessment. Maybe they have not been
Okay.
allotted.
Yes, I
Okay.
will do the random random allotment, and that will give them. I'll just do it, the random allotment, and sure, they will surely receive it.
Okay. So then I am coming in again, right? Yes. So now about creating games on Moodle. Okay. So the purpose of creating game is to keep the learners engaged, make them participate in various activities. But those activities should have content related to our syllabus so that they get certain practice about the definitions, about the mathematical questions, about the concepts while they are playing those games. This is the purpose of gamification, right? So let's do an addition of game. So we have added glossary, right? We have a crossword on glossary. So let's see how it functions. Now, this glossary was created by Jatin sir. Okay, and what is to be done? This is the simple glossary crossword game we find in newspapers, especially Times of India. Sunday has had this activity for long. Okay, so uh, here the students are asked certain questions. So this is for the direction across. So the response for this will be completed in this direction. Okay. The question is, this activity module enables participants to have asynchronous discussions. That is discussion that take place over an extended period of time. So if you answer this question, if you answer this question, you will have to enter the answer in the window here. Right. So again, I am teacher here. So what could be the answer? Anybody from the participant? I will be doing this as a student. So what will be the answer for this question? It should be a 5-letter word. So forum. Okay. So let's enter forum here. Now, once the answer is fed, it goes into the crossword. Okay. Similarly, if you click here, the question is, this module enables a teacher to display a number of related files inside a single folder, reducing scrolling to the course page. And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it should be a 6-letter word. What will be the answer? So this is how it is played. This is how students will be engaged when they are answering this crossword. Even if they do not know the answer, we have set the grade as 0% here, right? So even if students don't know the answer, they can go back to the glossary. Okay, they can read the various terms there, understand what is the right answer, come back and put the right answer here. Okay. So, so the right answer for this would be folder. So once students are doing in activities of this kind, even if they have not attended classes or they haven't given a thorough reading to the course content, they will now be compelled, because this activity is compulsory, it should be compulsory, so that they are compelled to go back to glossary, have a reading, identify the right answer for this kind of question, come back and post it here and get this completed. Okay. And if you are having the intention of giving them a practice, keep grade as 0%. If you want them to be assessed by this method, you can have some marks for it. It's up to you. So there is a concept of learning by doing. I hope Samir sir would have had discussed that with you, but I'll give a brief about that. So you ask students certain questions, but you don't assign marks for that. And that set of questions is usually placed just next to the content you have posted on online platform, like in Moodle course. If you place a text or place a video there and you give 5-6 questions related to that, at least 3 questions are related to that video or that resource, then students will need to answer those questions, and the questions should be of that level in Bloom's taxonomy, that they should they should answer some from the recall level, some from the understand level, and one question can be from the apply level. So at least 3 questions should be there, so that they should be go back to the content again if they are not able to answer. This will be a learning by doing activity. If it is a learning by doing activity, then the grade should be 0, and they should be allowed second, third, fourth submissions also, or even multiple submissions also. Like so in that way, when they will watch the video or the text, read the text again, and then they are able to do that, that will also lead to a motivation that yeah, this can be done, and I am able to do that. So this is the joy of learning. This is how students learn. When they are able to do something, they get more interested, they get more engaged. And then when they are more engaged, they take part in more activities, and the learning process gets a kickstart right from the beginning. Right. Now, let me add an activity. How we do that? Change the role to normal. Turn editing on. This is the first step for any changes you need to make on any course. Okay. Let's do for that for day 4. Right. So I'll add an activity or resource. You see now. Now, if I have a game option available here, let's do something. Okay, we'll take crossword first. So we'll select crossword and add this activity. Okay. Now, name is there crossword. I will change that to crossword 2. Okay. Description. Read the glossary and answer the questions in the crossword. You can have your own customized description. Okay. Or you can use a different source rather than glossary. If you have given them a text to read, you can have a crossword from that text. Ask them to read that text, come back and answer this crossword. It's not necessary that it is from glossary itself, but ideally this is good for checking their knowledge, recall level knowledge, which is available from a glossary or a set of definitions kind of thing, right? Now we'll have to select the source of questions. So if we want this to be automated, we'll use the word the mode glossary. If you want that to be from our other set of questions or any quiz we have uploaded, let's use this for a quiz, suppose. Okay. So if we are doing this from a quiz, then the quiz should be available on Moodle beforehand. Okay. So if it is from the question set be available on the Moodle beforehand. Okay. So let's do this for glossary. So which glossary? If you have more than one glossary, then you have to identify which particular glossary you want. Okay. Then select the category of glossary. If you have any categories set. Okay. Because for a year-long course, you can have glossaries for different units also, or different chapters also. Okay. Now, so there can be additions by students and there can be additions by teachers in a glossary. So for that, teacher needs to approve those additions, right? So if you want only teacher approved words or definitions to be learned by students, then you will have to keep the setting yes. If you want that any entry can be should be acceptable answer, but that is absolutely no. It should be ideally a teacher approved glossary which should be studied, because we are the ones who are driving the learning process. Okay, so that means you should also be able to see the entire glossary and approve all the entries which are right. Okay. Okay. Then question category. If you have question categories, if you have selected the question mode. Okay. Here, if you have selected the questions mode, then the question category will be selected. Okay. And the subcategories would be selected. Okay. If you choose the quiz mode, then it will ask which quiz I want to ask. So let's do that. For example, if I select quiz here, then this option will open. These are the available quizzes which we have there for you all. Some of them have already been conducted. Okay. So if I select any of these, that quiz will be converted to a crossword. Right. So, but this activity is mostly used for glossaries. So we'll take that for glossary itself. Now, the number of attempts. So since this is a practice activity with 0 marks, okay, we should give them more number of attempts. Let's say we give them 10 attempts, or we don't mention anything. That also is good. Okay. So should we summarize, or should their attempts be summarized, like how many attempts they have done and what they have scored in that? So this is for that particular option. Okay. Now, show high score. If they are doing multiple attempts, then every time they will have a certain score. Like say for a 5 question attempt, they may score 2, 3, 4, then again 3 or 2 and 4 and 5. Then the highest score they achieve, okay, will be mentioned from all the students. Those students who have scored highest, their score will be mentioned. This will be again a motivation that this is something achieved by other from my class. I can also do that. So they will again be motivated to go back to the glossary, read and attempt the question, the quiz again, the crossword again. Now, grade setup. Ideally, for practice, this should be uncategorized, the grade category. Okay. For grade to pass, it should be 0. If you want this for practice, maximum grade would be depending on the number of questions you have. If you have and a number of marks you are giving per question. So it can be say a 10 marks question. And the grading method. That grading method is where for multiple attempts, if one scores 2, 3, and 4, then it will mention the highest grade as the scored grade. Okay. If you want them to have practice but their first attempt will be the genuine attempt, then you will have to use the first attempt. If you want them to have practice also and then be graded also, then you will have to use the average grade. And the last option, the last attempt, is something not advisable. Okay, why? Because in the last attempt they would already have had all the answers known to them, so that will that is assumed to be the highest grade, similar to the highest grade. Okay. So now the option, the time frame. So this activity ideally should be timed. You cannot have it untimed. Why? Because this is part of a regular course. So it should be having a start time and end time, so that the students start doing this, and after certain time they move to the next topic also. So let's say this is 13 June at 13:39 hours and minutes. And then we enable the close time, so the date needs to be changed. So let's say this is now 15th June. Okay, so this is now having a 2 days period for them to answer. So that depends on the work, the pace of your course, how you are going to take that forward. So the time for small activities should be at least for 1 day, and the time for larger topics should be given more liberally, maybe 3 days time or 5 days time. Okay. So that those who cannot do this easily may have their some flexibility in working hours, and they can do this as per their own convenience. Okay. Options for crossword. Here you will have to select the number of columns and rows available. Okay, so let's keep it to 10. Okay, so the number of words which should be there, let's say one word should be there in it, that will create less confusion. Number of words maximum that can be there, let's keep it to be 2. Okay, so if you vary here, like number of words minimum, if you keep it for 2 or 3, then it will make the crossword more complex, and then the students won't be able to do that easily, and in that scenario they will be demotivated. So they should be kept at an easy level, so that everyone can do this. Okay, and the purpose, remember, is not to assess them. The purpose is to engage them more, so that they go have a read at the glossary or the course content and come back and answer the question. The scoring part is only to give them a measure of how much they have learned, and that will also give them an understanding that they need to do it again, so that they have the highest score or full marks achieved. Okay. Now, if you want to give space between words, that will create some confusion. They need to then think more. In that case, you should add yes. I am keeping it no, because I want to keep this really easy. Okay. Now, then the layout. That is how it will appear to the students. So if you want the phrases on the bottom, like we have seen in our example, it was in the bottom of the cross. Okay. Sometimes the layout can be on the right of the cross. We choose the right option according to your choice. Now, if you want to use the upper cases and all, you have to see the because there can be a chance that student enters small case and upper case or mixed responses. Then you have to disable the text transform if you want them to answer in the specific format or case. Okay, if you don't disable it, then it will transform every response to a capital letter scenario. Okay, so maximum compute time in seconds. It will compute the answer in 2 seconds. So when I submit the response, it will give me a validation whether it is right or wrong within 2 seconds. About the customization, this is up to you. If you want to add something over the crossword, maybe the topic or the chapter or unit, you can mention that. Okay. Similarly, if you want to add anything at bottom, the footer, you can add that. Okay, so that is not really important. we'll have to see the module settings. This is more important for you to focus now, that the availability where the students can see that. If you want this to appear later, choose hide from students. Okay. If you want it to be made available but not shown on course page, that's maybe because it is a practice activity. Okay. Then you can use it this option, but ideally we would always want to show this to the students. So it should be show on course page. Then if you want any ID for this activity, if you are using an ID structure, I hope this was discussed with you before. If you have any ID number for this activity, later on that will help you differentiate between different crosswords. So you can add a serial number or some kind of ID like a cross 1 or 2, so that you know what activity is going to happen. So usually it should take the numbers. Okay. Now, whether it should be answered by separate groups. If you have cohorts in the syllabus in the group, so for a 60 class number of students, if you have divided them into groups of 5 or 6 previously, then you have to use separate groups. If you want everybody do the same set of crossword, then you can have no groups option available. And a restrict access, if you want to compel them that they should read this particular material or watch this particular video, then you have to add restriction. When you add restriction, then you will have to choose. This is a general setup for any activity. So I'll be keeping no restrictions right now. Okay. Ideally, you should add some restriction, either related to watching a video or reading a text or answering a quiz or reading, accessing glossary kind of thing. And then activity completion should be marked usually automatically, so that you don't, the students sometimes miss marking the activity. If it is an automatic, then they are again compelled to do the activity. Okay. So if I select show activity as complete when conditions met, then the lower panel gets activated. Okay. And in this, I'll have to choose the options like whether they should need any grade to pass this activity. So if this is a practice activity and we want them to learn, so we can check that they should receive certain grade to complete the activity. If we want them to gain a certain, say 5 out of 10 at least during this activity, we should require a passing grade for them. Okay. Or and then we'll have to give the values to the for the passing level also. So I'll keep this to be marked by your own now, because you may see this right at this time in your course. Okay. Then any tags if you want to add, and competencies if you want to add. So this competencies part, I think, would be discussed tomorrow by Dr. S.P. Singh. Jatin sir?
Yes, sir. What is it?
Has competencies been discussed?
No, sir. We have not included it because we have not even put any competencies for participants' activities. That's why we have not gone ahead with it.
Okay. So then, what the student should do upon activity completion? So, like they should attach any evidence. Okay, these kind of options are there, and these are very general settings which are available for any add an activity process, we say, available on Moodle. So after this, I have done all the settings. I will save and display. Okay. Now, I'll change my role to student. Yeah. Now, I am a student like all of us who are attending this program. Now I choose to attempt this game. Okay. Now this game, I had chosen two as option there, so I have two crosswords there. Okay. Now there are the questions for across, that is from starting from the box number 4. There is a question that has to be answered, and the answer will be coming here, right? Okay. So let's click on 4. Once I click on 4, there is a question available. Okay. Once I click on down, once I click on 1, there is a question available. So this panel here, I had chosen show display below the crossword. So it is appearing at this location. If I would have chosen on left, it would have appeared here. Now this gives them a hint at where they should start. So box number 4 or box number 1. Once they answer the question, this will behave the way you have the crossword quiz available in your course. And if I do not know the answer, what should I do? Now this activity module enables a teacher to create a custom survey for collecting feedback from participants using a variety of questions. Types include multiple choice, yes or no, text input. Now this is an activity module, okay, and it has certain feature, okay. And the answer should be of uh, uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 boxes. So what can be the answer? Anybody? This is from your glossary on your course. You can post in the chat box. Yeah. So Mr. Sri has responded that it should be feedback. So let's check. Okay. So you see, I haven't used the caps lock, but this has converted to capital letters. Okay. And then I will say okay, and the answer gets recorded. This is how you create a crossword game. So this crossword was based on uh, glossary. The same crossword can be created uh, from a quiz or from a fill in the blank question set. Okay, it is up to you which settings you choose. If you choose settings to gain questions from a quiz, it will use the quiz to create crosswords. Okay, but then the quiz should be having one word answers. Okay, it should be having one word answers. Otherwise, how will the system correlate? And that's why we as teacher have important role, because we will be the ones who will be creating those questions. Moodle will not create its own questions. The question bank or the question set is always fed into the system by us teachers. Okay, and it is up to us how we are going to use those questions. If we are using simple questions, the activity may be very simple. Students have may go for copying the answers, okay, and then this will be less engaging for them. If we use an option like crossword, we can have an activity that will be a game for them. So there may be slight better motivation compared to attempting a simple quiz. And since we are not giving any grades for this, okay, this is a practice activity, they won't have any fear of scoring low or high, right? So this is how we can use gamification to foster better learning. We don't always ask questions because we want to give a grade. We sometimes ask questions so that they understand that more is to be learned. Okay. Similarly, any questions about this crossword puzzle? You can post in chat. Yeah. So there were many responses that the answer is feedback. I'm happy. That means the instructors were able to give the right direction to you all. Okay. Now, any questions about crossword? Please post in the chat box. Else, I would move to the next topic or game. Yeah, it is not necessary. Swati Thakkar ma'am has said, asked this question whether it is necessary that we use this glossary. We need not use it always with glossary. I have mentioned that also. We can use it for any questions which we already have. We can use it with any quiz we already have. Let's try to create quickly a crossword with a quiz available. Let's see what happens. Okay. Turn editing on is always the first step. One should remember. And we have day 6. Okay. Now add an activity and resource. Again, let's use crossword because that will also be better to clear the concept of how same thing behaves with different options. So let's name this crossword 3. Okay, I'll have some description here. Source of question will change to quiz. Okay, and now which quiz? Let's keep it to quiz from day 1. Okay, number of attempts. Let's simply move to the last option, save and display. Okay. Attempt the game now. Okay, so that's what I was pointing to. Once you are choosing to use this from a quiz, the quiz should have questions which have single word answers. Otherwise, how will the student answer the crossword? The crossword is a particular game where the answer should be a single word. So if the quiz which you are using is in the multiple choice format where there are single word responses in the 4 options and one of them is right, then that kind of MCQ can be converted to uh, uh, this crossword game. Or there can be other ways, like if we have fill in the blanks where the answers are single words, right? In that case, you will have a facility to use that quiz as a preset for this crossword settings, right? So this is important. That's why different kinds of questions are there in Moodle, and all those questions have different functionalities, different uses also. If we talk about pedagogy, way of learning. Okay. So let's come back to already I'm a student, teacher. Let's come back to again add an activity and resource. Okay, same applies to the questions also. If you are having large questions with a descriptive answer, that they cannot be converted to a crossword. Okay. Now let's go for another game. Let's say Hangman. Okay. Now it again is something which can lift questions from glossary or from short answer questions, and then that will be converted to a Hangman puzzle. Okay, Jatin sir, which quiz we have with short answer questions?
I have there are different questions are in all the quizzes. You can take a single. Let me do one thing. Let me create a quiz with short answers. There are short answers, so I'll make a simple quiz. Just give me 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Meanwhile, I'll be talking about the other options we have here. So there is a very popular game now, that is Sudoku. Okay. So this is the simple Sudoku game which the students, the children now attempt by filling numbers in the set of boxes, 3 by 3 boxes. So this will have, again, the question can be sourced from glossary, but there are other ways similarly to crossword. Okay, then similar options are there which we have already discussed. Only thing is you have to now see the Sudoku options. Now the maximum number of questions in the Sudoku, let's keep it to say 4. Okay, rather than 4, yeah, 4. Let's take it 4. Okay, and then we save and display and attempt the game. Now what happens is that question which we have in the glossary definitions. Okay, so those definitions are now converted here into Sudoku. So A52. Okay, any computer or network that offers services or connectivity to other computers on the network. It has an IP address associated with it. It's a typing error, I think. Okay. So what will be the answer for this question? Anybody can post that in the feedback in the chat box. Answer to this question. Let me see. There are answers like server, LAN, host. So I think server should be the right answer. And let's try that. Then for A53, okay. For A53, uh, abbreviation for cascading style sheets. Okay. It defines styles and colors and how they should be applied to a web page. Okay. Any answers for this? What is the glossary term for this description? Please post in the chat. Okay. So we have CSS. CSS. Okay. Then the third question. Since we have posted 4 questions in the options before setting the quiz, so we have 4 questions here. Now, this activity modules enables participants to add and edit a collection of web pages. Any answers for this? It can be collaborative with everyone being able to edit it, or individual where everyone has their own wiki, which they only can edit. So any answer for this? Let's see. Yeah, wiki. Let's see. Now, A61, the last one. This activity module enables participants to create and maintain a list of definitions, like a dictionary, or to collect and organize resources or information. Any answers for this? Which is the term right for this description? Yeah, glossary. So we'll finally write the this. Okay. Now let's go for grading answers. Okay. Now there is something which is not right. See, now we have got numbers here 4 and 9, and then 9 here. That means these answers were correct, but A52 still has the wrong answer. So all those questions which have been answered rightly are now removed. Only this question remains there to be answered. So if server is not right, then we'll try for another option, let's say host, and then go for grade answer. Okay. So host was the right answer. This is a functionality of Sudoku, that if your answer is wrong, you will not have this number. Now, once you have this number, these number set, the students can go and play the Sudoku game. So we are giving them a Sudoku game to play, but with this Sudoku game, we are also giving them questions to answer. So they get both things to learn and a way to release their stress, way to play also. So in that way, our object of putting these kind of games in the course will be fulfilled, to engage them, to spend time not only on playing a simple Sudoku from a newspaper cutting or on a mobile phone from a game, but play it on Moodle, and with this game they will be answering lot of questions. So you can have say 10, 20, 30 questions from glossary, and you give them time for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, because Sudoku is it takes time to be completed, right? In this way, you can have one activity, and that will be different from the usual academic process of asking paper questions. This also saves time, since this all is being graded automatically. Okay, we don't need to grade them with a pen. uh, Hundreds of sheets lying with us, adding bulk to our workload. We are doing this now automatically. It will take some time to create the question, I agree. But if you are giving half an hour or 20 minutes to create one uh, uh, crossword, you see, it gives lot of advantage, time advantage, because now you will be a better managed teacher, and the goal will be met with more force. The goal is to make students access the content, read the content, and get certain definitions or learnings acquired. So this will force them to do that. And if we make this activity compulsory, then they are bound to go to the course, learn from it. Even if they are copying it from their friends, they will still have the need to know that this term has this particular meaning, because they will be reading the questions and then giving the answers. And one more feature there. So the same crossword activity will have different questions for different learners. Okay. So in that way, they can't even ask others easily what is the right answer. They are bound to go to the glossary and read it. Right. So in this way, these activities uh, are supposed to make the learning process more engaging to the student. So I would like to know your feedback. Please post on chat what you think about these activities. Are they doable and are they interesting?
Sir, I have added the quiz called sample quiz for crossword. Right now it is hidden, and in that 10 questions are been added. 10 fill in the blank questions are there. So you can directly
What is the
add
name
that
of that
quiz
quiz?
to. Yes, sir.
What is the name of that quiz?
Sample quiz for crossword in day 6. It has been
Yeah.
hidden right now.
Now, I like to highlight again that uh, these activities, especially creating questions, require certain set of effort and some time from us teachers, right? Creating a quality multiple choice question which should be able to confuse students to some extent before they reach the right answer requires around 8 to 10 minutes of the teacher's life. But that 10 minutes for one question also saves hundreds of minutes of evaluating those questions manually on a sheet. Okay. So that's why, and again, if you are doing this work for this semester or year, you can have a set of questions available. You will need to add a small set of, say, 10-20% additional questions in the next run, in the next semester or year. So you will have a bank of questions available. After 2-3 years, like now, I don't need to create more questions. There are enough questions, I can use them again and again for the same course. And the diversity also goes on increasing. The kind of questions I have in my reservoir. Okay. So that makes me now a more enabled teacher, where I am devoting lot of time in other activities. Like I am taking online classes for faculty members of the different universities now. How do I manage that time? I can devote more time to my family also. These are the advantages. This is a stress reliever actually for the students as well as faculty members. Once you have set of questions, once you know how to use them in different kind of activities for students in the Moodle course, then you are saving lot of time, and we can use that additional time in creating more meaningful, useful resources for our students and for us as teachers. Right. So since Jatin sir has
Sir,
already, yeah,
yes, I have added it. And to add to your voice, I would like to say that uh, these kind of questions, specifically the fill in the blank questions, we use it for remembering purpose. And in most of the universities where they follow OBE, that is outcome based education, the remembering type questions are not at all evaluated as a part of curriculum. They are not given much more weightage. So but still, since our old examination, examination pattern is totally based on cramming and other practices, writing and cramming and all the other practices, which mostly focuses on remembering part. So in the beginning years, that is from first to fourth semester, mostly students are not interested in creative type of activities. They are interested, but they are not able to get the idea behind it, right? So with the help of these tools, these gaming tools, what you can do is you can make them carry out the task which is needed for assessing the remembering criteria, right? And still, if you don't use it for your evaluation and marks purpose, then it's fine. But students will enjoy this, and this will aid means it will be a supportive kind of thing, supportive kind of activity in a bunch of your different assessment activities. So students will, as sir said, yes, they will get a feeling of relief, a stress relieving feeling, that they will enjoy this, and they would love to come to your labs or to your classrooms for this particular thing, this particular games. Whenever I use this, as sir said, there is the same experience. All the students become happy, and they also tell that yes, this was wonderful activity. We would really like to do it every day. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. You
Yeah.
can continue with your.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your insights. So experience actually matters. Once you do this, you will know that this is a lot beneficial than what we have initially thought. Okay. One question, comment from Nilima Prabhu, madam. That is, but to construct them skillfully using this platform requires a lot of hands-on practice and deep thought. Yeah, of course. Any new module or any new application, software, device needs some hands-on practice. Okay, but believe me, this kind of activities are acceptable, more accepted by today's learners, and they are more keen to do try out new things. Okay, I have observed that this is more inhibition from the teachers' part, because they usually believe that we are devoting a lot of time. We should devote less on learning new things regarding platform. For the content, every teacher is ready to learn more content, learn lot of research papers, read newer books. Okay, but for the technology part, teachers usually don't take that extra effort. But if we, by experience, if we take that extra effort and we coach the students also how to use this platform, that we will be needing to do that only for the first batch. The second, third, fourth batch, the juniors will learn that from the seniors itself. Again, peer learning comes into place, and we don't need to take special classes for giving them hands-on practice about this platform. This is like any simple website. Moodle is any simple website where we go access, we see various options, we browse to the website. Same thing happens here. If need be, we may need to devote some time in the initial first or the second week. Okay, but then once you tell them different activities, how they are done, they will be able to do that on their own. And have faith on peer learning. It works. It works really well. Now, there are again some comments about Kahoot. Okay. So, whether it's possible to link that for Moodle for online games, I don't absolutely know the answer for this. I'll have to go and check. Right now, I don't know. Okay, Jatin sir has answered. It's a separate from right. That is true. you can share the link of that on Moodle. Yeah, that is true. Like you can share link from Mentimeter also. That's true. Okay. So unless your blueprint and planning is clear, you can't build an activity, let alone a course module. Yeah, agreed. That is the job of us teachers. We have to create a blueprint. That is the lecture plan for the entire session, and for every class we should prepare a lesson plan. And believe me, this is what is being taught in the B.Ed courses for school teachers. There are basics of micro teaching. They talk about micro teaching, where what we should do when we enter a class, right from entry to the exit. Everything should be pre-planned and written, sort of written in the teacher notes for the session, for the class. So we don't need to go to that extent, but yes, we can think of certain layout or plan that what will we do in tomorrow's class. So at least one day in advance, some insights, some thinking of our previous experience for the same topic, okay, will make us more enabled teachers. We already know the content. This workshop is not to teach you your content. You all know, you all are well aware. You have been teaching those content from years over. It is about how to organize that content into a more useful, meaningful form. There will be some typing required, I agree. There will be you can go for some copy paste also from internet. Then you can customize that according to your own understanding. Okay, but you should understand that if you don't focus on some planning, that is blueprint for the entire year, then you are not doing it in the meaningful way. This is what OB, outcome-based education, actually says. And right from the start of the course, there should be a clear layout of what students are able to learn, able to do after doing this course. For every subject, for every course, for a BSc, what they should be able to do after the completion of 3-year BSc course is to be mentioned right in the first day of their entry on in the BSc course. So what will happen after 3 years? So there is a blueprint available. All we need to do is we need to merge the Moodle settings with that blueprint. Create questions in more useful way, which is aligned to the learning outcomes or the goals of learning education. Right. Okay. Since Jatin sir has already added the quiz there, let's go for another activity. It's 7:53, so we can have one more. Add an activity and resource. Okay. Let's try Hangman. See again, this takes questions from a glossary or a short answer quiz. Okay, questions. So this can be used in more diverse set of questions. So previously we had seen crossword. This talks about taking questions from glossary and short answer quizzes. Okay. Then we had cryptex. Okay. So this cryptex is similar to crossword actually. Okay. But there is some part hidden. Then we have Hangman, where we can have questions from again short answer questions. Okay. We can set the number of words that each game will contain. Okay. If we show the first and the last letter, the student should be able to identify the entire word. Okay. Or if the question or the answer is shown to them, they should relate to the quiz, to the problem twisted. Okay. Then we have hidden picture. This is something more graphical. Okay. The picture is there in the Moodle, and part of the picture gets uncovered when they answer the questions. Okay. So each number in the hidden picture displays some question to the student. Okay. Such that the students would want to answer that question correctly, and then another part of the picture gets uncovered. Okay. So जो picture puzzle खेलते हैं बच्चे, ये वैसा कुछ बना देता है आपके क्वेश्चंस को, क्विजेस को, ठीक है। मिलियनेयर का जो ऑप्शन है, ये मिलियनेयर वाला ऑप्शन जो कौन बनेगा करोड़पति चलता है, ये वैसा ही कुछ है। The question is displayed to student, and if they answer them correctly, next number in the game or next level in the game will unfold. Okay. जब तक वो सारे क्वेश्चन नहीं कर लेता है, वो गेम आगे बढ़ता रहेगा और लास्ट में सारे क्वेश्चन आंसर कर लेगा तो गेम ओवर हो जाएगा, ठीक है। अगर वो गेम बीच में कहीं आंसर गलत कर देता है, जैसे केबीसी में लोग गेम से निकल जाते हैं लेवल 2 या 3 पहुंचने के बाद, तो किसी क्वेश्चन का आंसर गलत कर दिया, तो ये वैसा ही गेम हो जाता है मिलेनियर गेम। इट्स लाइक द सिंपल केबीसी। स्नेक एंड लैडर्स हमें पता है, जो क्वेश्चंस जो उसमें आते हैं, सांप सीढ़ी वाला जो गेम है, तो देयर इज अ नंबर ऑन द डाइस। ओके, तो गेम पीस जो है वो ऊपर चला जाएगा, जैसे सांप सीढ़ी में होता है। वी थ्रो द डाइस एंड वी गेट अ नंबर, देन वी मूव आवर पीस बाय काउंटिंग दोज मेनी नंबर्स, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पे भी आंसर करेक्ट करेंगे, डाइस पे नंबर आएगा और जो पीस है वो आगे बढ़ जाएगा, ठीक है। तो गेम्स वही हैं जो हम पहले से खेलते रहे हैं, हमारे कल्चर में रहा है, और ये पर्टिकुलरली इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि बच्चों को वही गेम्स दिए जा रहे हैं जो वो पहले से खेलते रहे हैं, ठीक है। सो बट जब उसको एजुकेशन से पेयर अप कर देते हैं तो दैट क्रिएट्स अ न्यू डायमेंशन। ओके, सुडोकू हम देख चुके हैं, so let's go for Hangman and add the quiz. Okay. So source of questions, now let's try to use the quiz. Okay. और quiz में sample quiz for crossword सर ने दिया था, one word था, Hangman पे यही ले लेते हैं। We won't have much of the options change right now. We'll save and display. Let's see how it behaves. It's a different game. Okay. So let's attempt that. Okay. Now we have 6 tries. Okay. The question is, this activity module enables a teacher to create a custom survey for collecting feedback from participants using a variety of questions, including multiple choice, yes or no, or text input. What should be the answer for this question? See, yeah, so we have the right answer. So it's feedback. Okay, it was not enabled initially. This is a common mistake which we may do, that we create an activity and we don't give a start and the end time. Read set enable and end time enable. Let's keep it to any future date and then we save and display. Now not enabled yet.
Sir, you have to click on the letters. Then
Yeah, I clicked, but it didn't work actually.
If you click on the wrong button, wrong letter, then it will.
Please be louder.
Try. You will have to click on the letters that are shown, A, B, A to Z. If you click on the wrong letter, then it will lessen your tries.
Yeah.
And with each letter clicking, the page refreshes. So if your connection is slow or you're using the mobile, then you'll have to take care that if this thing happens, then you don't worry about it. You'll have to just wait for it for some time.
Yeah, actually I am more worried now. It's already 8. I wanted to finish the session by 8. it took some time in answering the questions about the assignment submission.
So it would look more interesting if they get to see a wrong answer. Please show that. That would be very much interesting for them.
So, when the neck breaks, yeah, right. Okay. So now students have option to have lot many tries. So let's see if they are giving it the wrong answer. What happens? So now, once I have answered it wrong, uh, I have 4 tries left. Okay. Once I exhaust all the tries, what will happen? Just focus on the image here. Okay. So each time one body part is increasing on the hanging rope. Okay, I have 3 more wrong tries available. Okay. So once I exhaust all the tries, the man who is hanged on the rope will go on. Yeah, will go on be completed in the last. Okay, the game is over and the man is hanged on the rope. This is what happens, and so it gives a visual completeness to the activity. Okay, but yeah, this is something which is more time taking to complete. So I personally don't use Hangman more. I use more of Crossword and millennial games. It is up to your interest, what you interests you more. So teaching is not something which is universal. It is actually related to the choices of the teachers who is teaching that particular group also. So the same set of students will have different teachers, and that is also true. Each teacher has a different way of teaching, doing things. So that's why I use more of Crossword and Millennial. Others may use Hangman more or other modes of games more. It's up to you, but try out all of them first. In your current quiz also, website also, which you are creating in this workshop, try to add any game, try to add all the games. I would suggest at least one for practice purpose, and then you will see how it works. Ask your peers in your college to answer those questions, and then get a feedback whether that was interesting or not. That actually will give you an hands-on experience. Answer questions available on other peers' website. So this will ask, but the teacher should be from the same domain. So an English teacher can't answer a mathematics teacher's questions, right? So it should be that. But for glossary kind of activity, any teacher can attempt any other teacher's website. If you want to have a glossary based question game created, you must enable glossary in your website, in your Genomio site. You must have at least 5, 6, 7 entries so that you will be able to create a game for them. If you don't have a glossary enabled and a glossary completed, then you won't be able to launch a game based on that glossary. This is the prerequisite for creating these games. The content should be available. Okay. For millennial game, you can have other quizzes can be used directly, but for crosswords and all, glossary or blank fill in the blank questions, etc., should be uploaded on the website itself. Okay, so that way it will be more meaningful to create quiz and try out these options. Yeah, that will take time, but if you have uh, devoted this time, that time will be very meaningful. Okay, and then today's discussion, uh, last part which is still not being discussed is how to add a progress bar to the course you are creating. Right. So, anybody knows how to create a progress bar? Can post in chat.
Sir,
How?
there will be one
Yeah.
query for the participants. Let me tell them. There was a query already. For activating this game module in your new Moodles, this activity will not yet been activated. So you will have to go to site administration, then you go to plugins, and then in that you go to activity modules, and then you click on manage activities. In manage activities, you will see all the activities that are available. But if they are not visible, then there will be a there will be an eye in the hide show column. There will be eye which will not be blue colored. That will be gray colored. If you click on
Better
it
that I,
and make it show, then it will be blue colored.
okay, Jatin sir, it is
Okay,
better
let
to
me share the
demonstrate.
screen.
Okay. It is always better that you demonstrate rather than
Sure,
you
sure,
tell that.
sure, sir. I'm just showing that. Okay, is it visible now? Yes.
Yeah,
So see, from I go to site administration.
yeah,
From site administration, I go to plugins. Then in plugins, I go to manage activities. And here you can see under this whole path, I'm able to see various activities. You can see this attendance has been disabled. Big blue button has been disabled, right? Checklist is not there. You can even put checklist for students whether to see whether they have completed some assignments or not. Group choice. So you will have to enable this. So when if I suppose this Jitsi Meet is not enabled. So let me click show. There was one question whether we can embed meetings or not. We can embed Jitsi Meet and we can even embed the over here. So I click on show. So now I can add a Zoom meeting into my. I can collaborate using this Zoom meeting from Moodle itself, right? And can share the meeting details to all the participants using this Zoom meeting. So remember this thing, you will have to activate this. You go to site administration, then plugins, and then manage activities. In there, you will have to make it hide or show. Okay, because since your Moodle is a new one, these things will not be activated. You will have to manually activate it.
yeah. Okay. So this was about adding something which is not on your Moodle. So everything which is functionality of Moodle is not always activated. Same thing applies to progress bar or activity completion bar or completion progress bar. And that for that also one needs to go to the site administration, and ideally you would be going to site administration when you are an admin. So I'll have to switch role. So I'm not an admin by this ID. I'll have to log out, log in again by the admin ID. Now site administration is visible. We again need to go to the plugins, and in the plugins we need to go to the blocks. Okay. The blocks we need to go to the uh, manage blocks. Okay. And in manage blocks, we should check whether our activity completion, the completion progress is activated or not. So for our course, this has been activated. For your course, you will have a simple eye closed kind of option, that is, it is disabled or hidden. So once you click it, it will open. Okay. I am clicking here on a different button, but for you, you will have to click on the activity completion. Okay. So in that way, it will start to function. Okay. But it has not been activated yet. You need to go to the site administration again. Okay. Ideally, it should be going to block editing on, and there you will be going to move to adding completion progress. Since we already have that, uh, okay, since we already have that, so I don't need to do that. If you go for add a block here, okay, you will get an option now. Previously, you would not be getting that, but now you will be getting the option for completion progress. Okay, so we already have added that, so it is not visible here. Whatever we select gets added to the display layout of the course, right? So in this way, you have to uh, go for adding completion progress bar. Try that out in your individual courses. And sometimes you may need to go to site administration, and in that site administration, you will have to go to advanced features. I think this will work normally for you, but if you want your progress bar to be related to uh, the activity completion, then in site administration, go to advanced features and go to enable completion tracking. We already have done that, so it will not be visible here. Okay. But if you go for those settings, if you are not able to see the progress completion there, because then only the progress bar will correlate to the activity completion. And whenever you mark an activity as something which needs to be automatically marked complete, or where the student needs to mark that completed, that all is taken into account, and the progress bar color changes. Try out these two things which we have discussed today. That is gamification, various kinds of game, and activating the completion progress bar in your course. Okay, and I'll summarize what we have done today. So initially we started with resolving the queries which we have had from your participants about uh, the assignment we have for you on our Moodle course, that is farmersr.genomio.com, and we have demonstrated you how to do that assessment of your peer group from your own college. Okay. And if you have not done that, try to complete that and then revise your course. We had initially planned to give you 2 times this experience. Once you get feedback from all the participants about your website, you can go for another update of your website, adding gamification and all, and then the participants can again go for a peer evaluation. And in that way, we would be able to see whether we have produced a masterpiece or not, right? So whatever we are doing here is exemplary just for learning purpose, but you can make it a practice again after this workshop, and we'll be there to help you out if you have any queries. Okay. So after this, then we discussed about what are the types of assessments we usually do, the formative and the summative assessment. We also then discussed how they are different. Formative is done more in informal setup during the process of teaching, learning with the students. Summative is done at the end of the year. The goals of formative assessment is to understand whether our teaching is working, whether students are learning or not. If no, then we should redesign our teaching process, instructional process, and then the students should be motivated more to participate in the activity, right? And in the summative assessment is something which measures learning rather than the learning process. Okay. Next, we have gone through the how to make that learning process more engaging. So we can have games. We can have games right available for existing quizzes also. We can give one quiz to the students, say a multiple choice question quiz can be given to the students, and later on that same quiz can be again converted to a game. Visibility should be there. In that way, students will be answering the same questions again, and then you can also cross check whether they have copied that or whether they could answer that on their own. Right. So this is a very big complaint from the teachers that online modes of teaching is not foolproof. Students get a lot of hint from their peers. They share answers and all. So Moodle has randomization. Same questions will not appear for all the students. Okay. So in that way, they will not be having lot of question answer sharing process in the background. And we can also think about the questions we create. The questions we create should be such that they should devote some time before they get the right answer. Okay. So there is a concept of Bloom's taxonomy. I hope that is familiar to you all. That Bloom's taxonomy specifically classifies the process of learning into various stages. Okay, and those stages include uh, let it open. Yes. So those stages include remember stage or recall stage, where they only need to understand, remember certain facts. Understand stage where they may need to uh, understand certain concepts or definitions. And apply stage where they can use that definitions and those facts and figures to solve some small problem. Okay. Then an analyze stage where they can are able to see the solutions of available problem and whether those solutions are meaningful or not. They can create their own problems also. They can create multiple solutions to the same problem also. They have certain level of understanding which is better than the apply level. And then they should be able to evaluate, judge whether a particular solution is good or average solution, or there can be a better solution or not. And in the last level of Bloom's taxonomy, they should be able to create an entire new thing, maybe a project, maybe a device, maybe a concept or derivation. They could do that on their own. So if this is the way learning process is graded by the revised Bloom's taxonomy. This is actually termed as revised Bloom's taxonomy because the previous description by Benjamin Bloom was having evaluated the highest level and create at the fifth level. But the revised Bloom's taxonomy is classifying them by switching the two levels. So this is how your questions also should be formulated. So for any concept, you should have some question from the facts and figures, some from the understanding, some from the apply level, at least one question from evaluate or create level. So in that way, the students will be slowly building up the concepts and leading to reaching a very high understanding level. So this was not there in my presentation, but I thought this should be discussed again before we move to creating questions. Okay. Then in the last part today, uh, we had the progress completion bar. So I hope this satisfies your needs and you will be motivated to work more on creating some games for your existing courses. And please share those games with us also by the means of your website submissions. Jatin sir, we are going for another submission. Jatin sir,
Yes, sir.
are we going for another submission?
No, sir. We are just extending the deadline. Let it be the same. The question or the assignment will be same, and we are. I am also keeping it such that they can even switch to the next phase. Let's see whether that because some assignments have already been done. I'm putting it. If it accepts automatically, then it's fine. They will be even able to access it, and those who have assigned, those who have been allocated, they will be able to assess it, and those who are remaining can be able to submit it. So other people will have to keep on checking. They have not been automatic. Okay, so
Okay,
this
so
it will not be able to overlap. So I'm assessment will not be available right now up to 2 p.m. tomorrow. Assessment will be available after 2 p.m. tomorrow. Okay,
yeah,
so submission has
so
been extended up to 2 p.m. tomorrow.
yeah, okay, okay. So anyway, any instructions can literally be given from through Moodle also, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So should I sign off then? Do I have the
Uh,
permission?
Yes, Kajal ma'am,
Any
can you?
questions if
Yes,
there,
sir.
you can ask.
Any queries from the participants? No. So shall I go ahead?
Yeah, from my side, it's
No queries.
okay.
I'll just check. Okay, sure, sir. Hello all. We would like to thank our speakers, Professor Ranjan Kumar, Professor Jatin Ambasana, and the entire team for today's informative and interactive session. We now look forward to use different games as an aid to make the process of our course learning even more engaging. I would also take this opportunity to thank all the participants for their active participation and interaction in today's session. The invitation for tomorrow's session will be sent to your respective email IDs by tomorrow morning. Thank you. Till then, stay home, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye for the day.